right. Eryka Fir, bass player, singer, Coma Hole, artist, designer. Anything else? Did I miss anything?
Uh, I don't think so. New bartender. That's about it.
Cool. Where you bartend at?
I just started at this place local to me. It's like a music martini bar. I've been going there for like most of my life, just hanging out. It's like a coffee shop too, but I started last week actually working there.
You
So
might as well make some money if you're going to be there anyway,
yeah,
right?
exactly. If I'm gonna be there all the time, I might as well be on the payroll. So
Right on.
yeah.
So Coma Hole just put out their first single. Is that
Yeah.
accurate? So it's called Old Climb,
Hmm.
and it's just bass and drum. Is that right?
Yes.
And is that a conscious decision, or could you just not find a guitar player?
Um, so initially when we started this, obviously it was just the two of us. And I don't know, we've been a band for about 2 years, I want to say, almost three. And I kind of like it just being the two of us. Like I've always thought about adding in like another something for the high end because to feed off of live like would be fun. But I don't know, the more we've done this, the more I kind of just like having two people as the dynamic. I think it's interesting. So
It is.
I
It's
don't know.
it's a cool sound. It's like super heavy and fuzzy. I kind of liked it with no
Yeah.
guitar. It's
Yeah, I
kind of
kind of
unique.
like. Oh, thank
I'm
you.
sure there's some band. I'm sure there's some band out there that's just bass and drums, but it's got its own thing going on without the guitar. It's pretty unique that way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I kind of like that super stripped down sound anyway. I mean, we sound full, but you can tell it's just the two of us at the same time. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, just experimenting with that and seeing where it takes us.
Did you record more or just this one
Oh,
single?
we have more tracks. So we went and we recorded all the songs that we've been playing since like the very beginning. We were trying to record our EP last year. We were gonna go in March, and then with the pandemic and stuff, it was literally like as soon as everything was shutting down was when we were supposed to go record. So we kind of had to postpone that by a year. But yeah, back in July, we went down to Pennsylvania to record at Redwater Recording Studio. And yeah, so we have a handful of more tracks that hopefully I'm not sure when we're gonna release the EP, but probably like late fall we'll have like our debut EP. So that's the loose plan at least. But we wanted to get the single out because everybody's always asking us like, where can we listen to your music? And like all we have is like the Instagram live videos and stuff. So we were like
Yeah.
just itching to get something out, you know. So
Is it kind of the same vein as Old Climb? Is
yeah,
it
we I think
faster paced? Because Old Climb has kind of some speed to it. It's a pretty
yeah,
fast song. So is it
I
kind of
think
like that or all over there? Or?
I think we cover like a range. We have a handful of more tracks that kind of like we got like slower ones. We have like a groovier, upbeat one. It's not nearly as aggressive, but definitely I would say upbeat and kind of escalates throughout the song. And then we have a more like hypnotic, long kind of stoner doom, however you want to describe it, song. I don't really know what we are, but yeah, we're kind of like all over the place with it. So hopefully I don't know, people dig it.
Nice. So I saw on the Coma Hole Instagram that you have been a band for a while and you did some shows back in 19. So I was wondering if you had more songs than just this one that you put out. You must if you're playing shows.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have the EP that we're going to be releasing with a handful more songs on it, and then we have like a bunch of others too that like we're already kind of planning for the next release as well, even though we haven't gotten this one out yet. But we have like a handful of more songs for the next, and then we've been working on writing songs too. So there's plenty of stuff. It just, you know, everything takes so much time, especially currently with the world and stuff. So
Right.
just trying to be patient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're on your way to a show tomorrow, right?
Yes, we are going up to Burlington, Vermont, which I'm super stoked about because I love going up north and I've never been to Burlington. I've heard it's awesome. But our friends in Lungbuster asked us if we wanted to come up and play Jimmy's Basement. And then we're playing with two other bands, Space Cult and Poverty Line. So, and I haven't interacted with them much, so I'm very interested in what it's going to be like tomorrow. So,
Nice.
yeah.
I saw that you played with Bone Church, which is
Yep.
pretty awesome. How'd you hook up on that show?
We're
That's a
just
pretty impressive bill for a band that doesn't have any music out 2 years ago even, so I'm
we
impressed.
so initially when we started playing shows, because we're from Westerly, Rhode Island, so we're kind of like right on the border of Connecticut, which Bone Church is from Connecticut, and
Okay, yeah.
I know a lot of people in Connecticut, and we kind of like started getting booked by this one dude that we know who primarily books all CT, and like he's booked those dudes, and like I can't think of the first time we actually played with them, but I mean we became like really good friends with all the dudes in Bone Church. Like we go to each other's shows and we try to like line up shows together whenever we can. And I talk to a handful of them every now and again. So we just kind of became like really good friends. So it's like one of those like if we want to set up a show, we try to play together. So
That's cool. Yeah, I love Bone Church. They put out a good
they're
album. I think was it last year
awesome.
maybe? I don't know. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I actually not to fluff up, but their last album they asked me to come and do a little like backing vocals on it. So there's two tracks that like it's in the mix, but I did a couple little like oohs and ahs and stuff with them. So
That's awesome.
yeah, they're cool dudes. They're awesome. I'm very stoked for them. It seems like they are just getting bigger all the time and have more opportunities, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
people say really good things about them, and I would agree. You know, from what I've heard, they rock. So
Super dope dudes.
nice. And speaking of knowing awesome people, I was just curious how like your Instagram and even Coma Hole kind of got so big in a sense. Like I just posted an album cover of Mastodon a few days ago, and they
Mhm.
saw it in my story, and I was like, "Oh shit! I wonder what are they gonna do with it? You know, are they gonna share it? Are they gonna follow me?
Yeah.
You know?" And none of that happened, of course. But then I saw that Mastodon follows you, and I'm like, "That's awesome."
I have no idea how that even happened. I remember it was just I made a post once where I was wearing a new shirt I got from them and like I just tagged them in it. Like I don't even remember what the caption was. And then like they liked it and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then like I remember being at work one morning and at like my old job and like I walked over to go get coffee before I started and I'm like on my phone waiting for my coffee like on Instagram and then I was like looking to see. I'm like, oh, new followers. Like, who's that? And it was like Mastodon something. And I was like, oh, who is this? And I looked and I was like, Mastodon followed me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, they're like one of my favorite bands. I've seen them so many times. So I don't know. It's just like mad cool. I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't know why. They still follow me too. I'm like, all right. Like, I
Awesome.
guess you think there's something that you think is cool. I don't know, but it's cool. It's always fun when somebody that you admire, like, even just like comes across anything you do. So it's
Yeah, for
really-
sure. I mean, as long as I've been doing Slightly Fuzz, like a handful of bands have shared stuff, like stuff, followed me back, you know, whatever, which is cool. But Mastodon's not one of them.
maybe someday, maybe one. You never
Maybe
know.
someday. I don't know who runs the Mastodon account, if it's them or if it's somebody else or anything, but either way, very cool. So congrats. Yeah. So how long have you been playing? Has it always been music as a career choice, or have you been? Obviously, you're super into art and design and stuff too. So, which was it first? Which came up first?
So I would say I've kind of been doing both those things most of my life. Like I've always like as a kid, like was always like the oh like she's good at art. And then like I always like singing, so that's like where I started is I was always a part of like any chorus program and any music program and trying to do all like the music groups and stuff. But this is actually like my first real band like I've ever had. Um I've always loved music. I know that it's something that I've always wanted to do and perform, but never really knew exactly like what that meant, you know? Like I was like, I love singing and I want to develop singing. And then I think when I was 11 or 12, I picked up guitar and that's mainly what I did. And I did that mainly up until a couple years ago when I was finally starting to try and form bands. Um, so it was like I finally started investing in my like equipment because I was like, I'm gonna sing and play like lead guitar and I want to be in a band with people. And I started getting together with people. And then as I was doing that, like when we get together and try to jam, I was like, I actually don't like playing guitar and singing in a band. And I was like, it's kind of stressing me out. I was just like, it doesn't feel right. Like playing guitar and singing stresses me out. And I just had a thought where I was just like, what if I played bass? I don't know. Like after I just bought, like I spent like $2,000 on all this equipment, and then I was like, well, fuck it, like let's try it. And then now I'm here. So, and it feels so much better, and like I feel like it's developed my understanding of music
Yeah.
exponentially, and it just feels natural, and like I just enjoy it so much more. So that's kind of the journey I've been on. I'm
Interesting.
very happy I decided to pick it up. Uh,
Everybody
but yeah,
always needs a bass player. And not everybody wants to be a bass player, but everyone always needs one. So
I think
you're
it's
in
so
high
much
demand at
fun.
least.
I love bass. Like it just
Yeah.
feels so much more natural to me, especially because when I started playing guitar, it was acoustic and I did a lot of like finger picking. And so then when I tried to make the transition to electric and using a pick, that was a whole other thing too, that like even though it doesn't sound difficult for me, it was just like I can't do this. Like I want to use my fingers. And so then when I started picking up bass, I was like, "Oh my God, I can use my fingers again." And like it just feels like a whole like body like experience, like your whole body's in it, especially when you're singing too. Like I just feel like I like the sound is just coming out, like emanating, and it's just I love it. I love the low end and I love the groove, and I don't think I ever realized that most of the music I listen to too is very like bass and groove heavy. Like I didn't realize that that's what was influencing me more than guitar. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that I picked it up.
Was it a natural feeling to sing and play something at the same time? Because I played guitar a tad, like back in high school especially, and I remember just trying to sing like some acoustic song while I was doing it. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not gonna work. That'll never work. I can tell.
You definitely it definitely takes a lot of practice and like separation, like, but I don't know, I've been doing it for so long, like just playing guitar and singing, and then in high school I did a lot of like musical theater stuff, and because I could also play guitar, there was a lot of times where like I would be like a character in something and like the character would be playing an instrument, so then like I would be playing the instrument as well as doing all the singing and stuff, so it was like just a lot of practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it still trips me up certain things like that I write, and then I want to write these melodies over it, and I kind of have to just start slowly and then build on it until it's just like you don't even think about it.
Right.
So yeah.
I always wanted to be a drummer. I feel like, especially in the 90s, drummers were cool. There was like Tommy Lee, and I mean, like drumming was cool. Like that's the cool guy in the group. And then somewhere along maybe late 90s, that was just no longer the case. It was all about being like lead guitar or whatever. But I tried being the drummer. I tried to play drums in like middle school band or something, and I could only do like two things at once. I couldn't get my feet to do the same or
Yep.
different things with my hands or whatever. And I think I'm just not cut out for much of any of it. But
I
singing,
don't
yeah,
understand drumming whatsoever. Like
yeah,
I say it to my drummer Steve all the time, like just like listening to him too on the recordings, I'm like, I don't get it. Like people think that like what I do is impressive, but I don't, especially like drummers who also sing, I don't, that's a whole territory of coordination that I don't think I could ever grasp.
yeah, yeah. That seems super tough.
Yeah.
So, art.
Yes.
When did you start getting into art? About the same time, it sounded like. And I guess a better question is, when did your art turn from like innocent doodling and coloring into like weird stuff? Because for me, like I've drawn since I was a kid, little kid, always been
Mhm.
on the more creative side. People always told me you're a great artist or whatever. But I remember specifically like middle school, probably after hearing like heavy music, after hearing, I don't, Metallica or something, was whatever the first one was, it went from like some dude with sunglasses on into like skulls and flames. so
Yeah.
so when did you start doing like the art that you are doing ish, you know?
I don't know. Like I've it's like hard to say. I think I've always been into creepy and weird things. Not to say that as a kid I was like doing it when I was like 6, but
Yeah.
like if I can think back to like maybe when it started, I was probably like like 12 or 13 maybe. Like if I go through all my doodles, I definitely like lots of eyeballs. I mean, obviously, other than it's like a meme, isn't it? Like sitting in class and just like not paying attention because you're drawing eyeballs in your notebook. I
Drawing
definitely.
dicks. I think drawing dicks was mostly what we drew
Oh,
in
I
middle
mean, I
school.
didn't do that, but I drew eyeballs and like creepy trees, and I've always like skulls and plants and morbid stuff. But I think the real like coming into my style more so happened over the past couple years with actually trying to, I don't know, create a goal with my art. Like again, art's another thing that I've always done and I know it's what I want to do, but like how to actually make that like your business and unique to use, like a whole other thing that you don't even think about until like you get there, like you get older and you're like, okay, well, like what direction can I take this? And so I think music too definitely influences it, like, and especially like in the stoner doom community, like the type of art that is, like it's so very like specific and
Yeah.
like I love it, like, and it definitely influences my style all the time, just seeing all these like really awesome artists, like, and what they create. And there's all those classic tropes of like witches and wizards and all that, but I'm not really like into that end of it. It's more like I definitely like the natural and occult morbid kind of stuff. uh but yeah, I mean, I would say I've kind of been into like darker stuff like a long time, and I've always really liked surrealism, like Salvador Dali type esque
Of course, yeah.
stuff, creepy dreamlike things. So
Yeah, I saw some of your drawing slash painting stuff. Obviously your design work, and we can talk about that in a minute. But I saw a lot of your paintings and drawings and stuff, and it reminded me a lot of like my style of stuff, not just stuff that I'm into, but stuff that like I went to college for art and design. So I graduated with a degree in art and interactive media. So it was like designing websites and graphic design, but also just like painting and drawing and stuff like that too. So a lot of my art at that time was I would draw it because I was a good drawer, learning how to paint, but then I would paint acrylic over it, and then I would like kind of just embellish with watercolor and stuff.
mhm.
And you have a lot of watercolor stuff. It's a lot of surreal stuff, and that's a lot of the stuff that I was doing. So I really liked all of the art that you were doing, and
Thank you.
head split with mushrooms coming out of it and stuff like that. I thought it was pretty rad. So yeah,
Thank
I
you.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
Um,
love incorporating those like natural elements with the morbid and then the kind of like psychedelic, like with all the colors and stuff. Like I like the like the juxtaposition of those two things. And I mean, I'm trying to develop it all the time and get better. And I take inspiration from whether it's other artists or just like outside or things like that. Like always trying to find new ways to incorporate things into my art and improve it. And because I like a lot of heavy detail oriented stuff too. Um, it's just getting better at all that. Like I love like John Dyer Baisley, so good. His artwork is just incredible. Like all the elements that he always incorporates, and I love that he does all the artwork for you know his own band. Like I think that's so cool, and that's like something I'm trying to do as well. So just like marrying the music and the art together.
do you ever think about doing a gallery show of art, or is it more about like the connection to music and album covers and merch and stuff like that?
It's really just finding time. I don't know, like I go through phases of like certain types of art that I like to dedicate time to, like especially right now, like because I've just been doing art full time. I mean, I just recently got this other gig because I was like, I want to just like, I don't know, be doing something, have a place that tells me I need to be somewhere kind of thing and make a little more money. But I've been focusing on the graphics so much just because I do like it being like combined with the music, and I like being able to help other people flesh out their visions for their music. Like I think it's fun, and it's a fun challenge. But I've definitely thought about it. Like I don't know, just been focusing on graphics so much. I just haven't had time to
Yeah.
create a bunch of like original pieces that I would want to display, but I'd like to. And I'd love to like sell prints again. I used to do that. But I've just been so digital focused and like design focused. I just haven't thought about it, but I
That's definitely
definitely
where
in
the
the
money is.
future. I'm sorry.
That's definitely where the money is the digital
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went to college for art, and I've sold a handful of paintings right out of college, not for a
Yeah.
lot, but sold a few and put some stuff into shows and whatnot. And it would have been a tough go of it. And I was glad that I had at least a backup part of my degree to
Yeah.
go into to graphic design. And then I started doing marketing and graphic design for people. And yeah, the starving artist thing would have been tough, I think.
I remember so many like times in high school, because I mean I didn't go to college or anything. This is all just I'm kind of just learning as I go along and trying to propel myself. But I remember when people were like asking me like, oh, what are you gonna do after high school and in college, and like know that I'm an artist, like everybody would be like, you should go into graphic design. I remember being like, fuck that shit, I don't want to do that, that sounds stupid, like that's not my thing, I'll never get it. And then like here I am. But I guess it's because when you hear that, like I didn't really think about like I don't know, specific audiences that I could target or communities that I could work in as an artist. Like I just had no vision of that. And it was the same with music too. Didn't have like I don't know, a community I thought I wanted to be a part of, or what kind of music do I want to do, or what's it going to look like? Like I didn't know. So like finding your niche is definitely important in that too. Like I feel like I found through music the community where I also can sell my art. So like now graphic design is like, oh, that's super cool, I like doing this because it's not like just business logos and like I don't know, that's what I think of when I hear graphic design, like go to school for graphic. And I'm just like I was like that doesn't sound fun, but this is fun. I'm like I love working with bands and creating art for my own band and like and just certain like cool brands. Yeah, so just like finding your niche and community can make that like so much more fun.
Yeah. Believe it or not, that is my day job, is making logos and like corporate flyers and stuff for people. And it's not the same as making like concert posters and album art and stuff like that. It's not the same at all. It's kind of a bummer sometimes. But when I was a kid, my parents were always like, you're creative and artistic, you should be an architect, because that was like the highest paying thing they could probably think of that involved any sort of drawing. And I remember like using this ruler to like draw buildings, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is so the opposite of art. Like everything has to be exact and everything has to be mathematically proportionate. And I'm like, this sucks. Like that's the opposite of what I want to do. I want to just draw whatever I want. And I guess being a designer is somewhere in between, because they do expect a certain level of things, but you can still be creative. And then on top of like corporate flyers and logos, doing the concert posters and album artwork and stuff like that is complete freedom. I mean, the bands are creative people themselves. So even if they're the ones telling you what goes and what doesn't, at least they understand what like art is. and
Yeah, exactly. And most of the time, most people I work with like don't even have a super specific vision or even like a deadline. So it's just kind of like, yeah, this is like a vague idea of what we have, but we like your style. So like, you just go for it. And I'm like, all right. Like
that's the best. When they say, I like your stuff, go for it. That's the best response you can ever get. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's cool to have like a lot more like direction, because sometimes I get overwhelmed with all that freedom. I'm just like, I have no idea. I have so many ideas. Like, what's the best? But you end up figuring it out, and it's always so nerve-wracking. Like after, because I've done like a few like album covers too for people, and then I'll kind of send pictures along the way in the process, and it's always so nerve-wracking because I'm always just expecting them to be like, well, no, and then like I send something, they'll be like, that's sick, and I'm like, thank God.
I never send anything half done because I'm terrified. Like I've done a few album covers and they go like, let's just see how it's going. We just want to see like what it's starting to look like. And I'm like, yeah, but if you see half of it and it's not like flushed out yet, you're gonna go, ugh, we shouldn't have hired this guy. And I'm like, no.
I preface it with like, just so you know, I know what's wrong with it and it's not done. Just so you know. But like, I just want you to see the vague idea of where it's going before I keep doing it and then waste like 10 hours. And then you're like, I hate this. I'm like, shit.
It's the same though when they're like, we like your stuff, do whatever you want. Is like, maybe they saw these three over here, and what if I do this? And they're like, ugh, sorry, we shouldn't have hired you. We got to find somebody. Like there's a lot of like ego involved, and like I don't know. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough, like kind of creating something and then putting yourself out there and being like, is this okay to people? I mean, I suppose you get that every time with like music, but for art and design for sure. Like it's a blow to the ego sometimes when they're like, actually, we're gonna have a few
Never
changes.
mind. Yeah, it's definitely scary.
Yeah, I saw that I listened to the podcast you did with Diary of Doom, and you talked a little bit
Yeah.
about designing. Was it the Doomfest, Maryland Doomfest?
Yep.
How did
Yep.
that
I
come
don't even
about?
remember how long ago that was now because it's like I did it a year before that was supposed to happen, and then COVID happened, and then
Yeah,
now it's finally happening in October, hopefully. So, but yeah, I did that artwork. It just kind of happened, like the opportunity. I remember, so there was a period of time on Facebook where there was this big group. I don't know if you were a part of it. I'm not even sure if I'm a part of it anymore, but it was like Doom Stoner Southern Sludge. It was like like doom metal whatever group. I was a part of it. And there was like a couple times where I kind of just put myself out there and posted in it like shit, and then from there I started getting like all these friend requests from everybody like in the community, which is I attribute that group to why I even know anybody right now is just from networking on Facebook. And so during that period of time, I remember I got a friend request from this dude, JB Matson, and I was like, who's that? And so I click on it, and it says like in his bio, it's like, oh, like you know, pretty much person who puts together Maryland Doomfest. And I was like, that's neat. Okay. And then some time passed, and I remember just like posting my art to my stories and on Facebook, and he liked like a bunch of stuff. And I had the thought where I was just like, what if I got asked to like do that artwork? That'd be kind of cool. And then I got a message and it was like, oh, hey, like I really like what you're doing and I want to talk to you about doing the art for the festival. And I was like, sure. I was like, really? Like, so that's kind of how that happened.
that's awesome.
Not that you even asked, but I figured that that's where that conversation might be going.
I'm always
So,
interested in how people get some of these gigs because I mean, there's a million designers out there and artists, and you can hire a painter, you can hire an illustrator, you can hire a designer, you can hire
yeah,
anyone, and it's always interesting to me how people. Well, normally I'm talking to bands and how they find the artist for their artwork, but it's even more interesting to me finding the designer and saying, how did you get this job? And it's always random. It almost always seems random because I've gotten a few jobs for concert posters, albums, stuff like that, and it's never like the way you would expect to get some of those
so
jobs. It's always random. It's always, yeah, I joined a Facebook group and this guy liked my stuff, or who knows what, I don't know. But yeah, it's interesting. So what did you do for him? Did you draw something or design something digitally, or what did you end up doing
yeah,
for him?
so I don't know if you saw like the flyer. So like the main portion, like we went through a couple different sketches. This was actually one of those situations where like I was sending stuff, and then there was some period in between where like he didn't really say anything, and then he was like, okay, to be honest, like this thing, it's not really the vibe. And I was like, all right. It's like, huh, shit. I hope I figure it out. And so eventually I created something where he was like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, thank God. So like it was like me, and then he has like another designer formatter. I think his name is Bill. I don't remember his last name, but we haven't talked in a while. But like the main portion of it with like the woman, and she's got like these horns and all this stuff hanging off, and she's got like melted candles on her torso, and like she's all creepy and like purple. I did like that whole middle section, and then like everything around, like the background with like the moon and stuff and all the band names. Like the other dude did all that, but I did the main section of the woman, and it's really interesting. I recently, again, because I think it's just they've been posting about it and promoting, like people message me and they're like, is that your artwork? And I'm like, yeah, that is my artwork. I'm like, that's cool that people recognize it. Like,
Yeah.
stylistically, I'm just like, oh, neat. Like, I'm doing something right. Awesome.
Right. That is awesome though. And they used it for like merch, posters, everything.
I believe so. It hasn't happened yet.
Okay,
So, like,
right.
but the plan was it's gonna be like on. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like on all the T-shirts and koozies and stickers and whatever else they have for merch. I plan on going down if it's still happening. I think it's
Cool.
Halloween weekend, like the 28th through the 31st. So I want to go down just because I don't know. I did the artwork and
Hell yeah.
get some shirts and go see all these cool bands and talk to more people that I haven't met in real life, but I'm internet friends with. So
Right.
yeah.
Do they send you anything? They send you a T-shirt or koozie or anything?
Not yet. I
No.
don't I haven't talked to them in a while. I think it was more just like I was gonna be able to get in and then get all the free stuff when I get
Oh,
there.
that's
So
cool. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm always
No,
curious
I
how
haven't. It's been so. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna. I just meant like I'm always curious how like bands or festivals or anyone handles that stuff too, because obviously you get paid for your work,
Mm.
but I always feel like they should flip you the shirt that you did or something,
Yeah.
you know. So just
No,
curious.
exactly. Oh, I forgot. So, well, with this too, like I didn't get paid for this, but we did like negotiate some stuff. And I was just like, it's one of those things where I was kind of like, I was kind of bummed at it at first, but then I was also like, this is like one of my first like actual like I don't know designs that's being used for something kind of I don't know decently big.
Yeah,
And also they do the custom like fuzz pedal. They've done that for the past couple years at least. It's Eric Calvert from Frost Giant Electronics. Um, it's like his massive build pedal. Like they do a custom Maryland Doomfest one with whatever art is used that year. So actually, if I get up really quick, um, I got one of these guys for free, so that was pretty cool. So if this is my artwork on
that's
a
awesome.
pedal. So yeah, I'm like, okay, cool, like I'm happy. And then whatever else happens, it's just been like so long at this point that I'm like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as the
Yeah,
festival gets to happen and my art gets used, I'll be happy.
yeah.
So at least
I
I got
mean,
this.
there's a
So
whole bunch of different ways to handle getting paid, and
yeah,
you know, I know the design community is a little rough sometimes, and you know, they always stress not underselling yourself, and you got to ask for what you're worth and all that stuff, but also like, you know, free merch and shit's cool and tickets to stuff or
yeah,
even the exposure. I know everyone says you can't get paid in exposure, but I mean, it's obviously people recognize your stuff and I'm sure you get work out of it just because of doing that. So, you know,
it
I
just
think it's
depends on the
all worth it.
circumstance, you know, like certain things like with my own personal work, like if I'm working with like bands on album covers and t-shirt designs, I definitely have like over the past year like steadily raise my prices to really like because to understand like how much work goes into each thing. It's like, you know, I'll just be upfront about it now because it's always hard to ask for money,
Yeah.
especially when it's like you're doing like a 16-20 hour like job on an album cover. You want to get and you're doing all these like edits back and forth, like you want to actually make like a paycheck at least on that. But certain
Right.
things, like if it's like certain friends or like opportunities like this or like where I'm just gonna get a bunch of free shit and I can go for free and like you just gotta like figure out what it's worth to you. Like
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I was gonna say like I do some woodworking and stuff like that. And the finished product can be this big and they're like, well, that's obviously worth a certain amount. But they don't know that it took me like 2 weeks to
yeah.
like to do the thing, you know. But speaking of that, I was going to mention that you did jewelry too, so I wanted to hit all the things that you do. So how is that going? When did that start?
Um I haven't done that in a while. I kind of do it when I feel like it. I don't know, I'll do it in batches. Um Initially like I I really liked sculpting as a form of art for a long time, and then I just didn't have space to do it, and I kind of got back into drawing. And then when it came to like selling my art as like a business, I wanted to get back into the sculpture part because I just have more fun doing that as opposed to just straight up drawing and trying to sell like originals and prints. And I really like fashion because I do my t-shirts too. I do batches of that. So I was like, oh, you know what? Like, why don't you just like make jewelry? Like I do stuff with like polymer clay and like metal. Um, and so yeah, I remember I like rebranded my art page to just jewelry for a bit, and then it's kind of like everything now. But I like creating like cool pieces that people can wear. I've done like a couple custom pieces, but I haven't really touched that stuff in a while because I've just been focusing on the graphic and the music again recently. But
They're a little on brand. They're a little creepy and
yeah,
whatnot.
I like stuff that's kind of like primitive and natural looking. Something that's not like super complicated and like I don't claim to know a whole lot about jewelry making. Like I follow a lot of jewelry making pages and I have a lot of friends who do it and they're awesome at it. and I see that stuff and I'm like, I want to do that too. But like, it's another thing where it's like, depending on what you're doing in it, so many materials and so many things to learn, and I
Right.
have no space. So I kind of just do what I can with the materials that I know how to use. And so I've actually been thinking about making jewelry again because I don't know. I think it's the season too, like fall and stuff. I think about like, I don't know, witchy adornments, and I don't know. I want to make something that looks magical.
Yeah. So you mentioned the shirts. I had to ask you about the nice Riffs shirt.
Yes.
Where did the idea come from, and how long have you been doing that? It must be going pretty well because I see them all over the place. Not just
People
your
like
page, I
them.
see them all over the place.
I don't know why. I mean, I guess it's like it's literally it was a dumb idea I had. Like I have dumb it's just sayings will float around my head and then I twist them in a way that are, I don't know, are dumb sometimes. And so there was one time I just was like, I don't know, it's like nice tits, and I was like, how do I make that like relative to music? I was like, nice riffs, and then I was like, that's kind of funny, I guess. So I was like, I'll just make a T-shirt for myself. So I made my own like prototype on like a ribbed tank top. Like that's what I wanted them to be printed on too, but it couldn't happen. Like there wasn't
Uh-huh.
an option for that. But yeah, I just like handmade one on like a ribbed tank top with like markers. And I was like, maybe like 10 people will like this. Like I could hand make like some of these. That'd be fun. And so then I posted it to my Instagram one day and I was like, hey, I came up with this thing. If I were to make shirts, would you buy them? And a bunch of people were like, fuck yeah, I'd buy one. And then like, so I was like, okay. So then I kept kind of just like for a week, like bringing it up and seeing like just what the response would be. And like, a lot of people wanted them. So then I was like, I can't hand make those. So instead, I ended up going through this dude who does our Coma Hole shirts, and he's done personal shirts for me too, for like my own personal music. I did like a run of t-shirts, like Eryka Fir shirts and stuff. But yeah, it's Teeth Like Swords printing in Pawtucket. Yeah, I ended up going to him and I was just like, hey, like I have another design, and like, can I set up a pre-order and then I'll just like get you the numbers at some point? And he goes, yeah. And so I ran like a pre-order for like a week or two in the first run, and I sold like, I don't know, I had like 100 shirts. I was like, oh
Man.
shit. Yeah, and then after all those, like people kept messaging me and they're like, where can I get this shirt? And I was like, I don't have any left. And so then I waited until all those shirts were shipped out from the first batch. I waited a couple months and then I kind of brought it up again. I was like, hey, whoever missed the first batch, if I do another run, will you buy one? And then everybody was like, yeah, I'll buy one. And I was like, cool, I'm doing it again. And I added like a couple other options into it this time too. Like instead of just the like the white tank tops and the black tank tops, white tees, black tees, I was like, a ringer would be cool. Like, do people like ringers? I think that'd be cute. So then I did that and people like those. So I'm probably gonna keep bringing it back every now and again, because even with this batch that I did, I keep getting messages or people wear them in their posts and tag me, and then people I don't know comment on that post and they're like, dude, where'd you get that shirt? And then they'll be like, oh, Eryka, and then they message me and I'm like, I don't have any more. So
That's
I'll,
about as good of a response as you could possibly hope for. I
I
mean,
know I'm honestly surprised because it's just a dumb thing that my brain said, and then I
yeah,
was like, that'd be cool on a shirt, and then I guess other people thought it was cool. So
that's awesome.
thank you everybody for thinking that
Yeah.
my brain did something cool.
It doesn't get any better than that. You come up with a simple shirt design, and even 100 responses is kick
Yeah,
ass. And just the fact that you can do it a couple times, that's impressive. I love it. That's
it's
cool.
always like the simple thing. It's not the thing you put like hours and hours of work into that you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is my heart and soul and I'm so proud of it. It's like the like butts, and like everybody's like, yeah, dude, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I mean, even with my silly Instagram account, like some of the fake album covers that I'll make, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but like I'll put a lot of time and effort into some of these fake album covers, and I'll be like, this is really clever. This is really gonna go. Everyone's gonna share this, and it's gonna be great. And it's like not much of a response. And then I'll just make like some fart joke, and everyone's like, dude, so
Dude,
good.
yeah. Yeah, it's literally I don't know. I have like a couple other ones too. I kind of want to make this like a thing. I love doing clothes. Like it's a lot of fun. That's why I like designing for bands and merch too. But I have a few more sayings too that I think I want to try and taunt in the future and see what the response is. Because I mean, I
Nice.
love doing this. I love doing the variations of nice riffs, and I have some more plans for different types of merch with that too, come winter and stuff. But I have a couple other sayings that I don't know. I think people might think are funny on shirts. So
Good.
that'll be happening in the future at some point.
Good. I'm glad. I love it. I before we get off the topic of design, I didn't mention the artwork for Old Climb, your new single, which I really liked. And I mean, it looks like it looks like your style, but I just thought it was such a cool design, and you know, fits everything that you do so well. But do you do it? Do you have like a tablet that you draw on, or do you draw it first and scan it, or how do you go about doing
Yeah,
this kind of stuff?
I have like an iPad 7 and I just use Procreate. With that art specifically, it was one of those things where we were like, all right, we're gonna release a single next week, and I was like, I should probably make art for that. So I kind of pulled from lyrics in the song. I was like, what would be like the coolest thing? And so one of like the first lines is like, what is it in my own song? It's like push those fingers deeper. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's how I feel recently anyway. I just want to fucking so I took like a photo of me doing something like that just for like reference, and I pulled it up in my iPad and kind of like took from that, sketched it up, and then yeah, it was just all done in Procreate. But
It's
yeah.
awesome. Is that the plan? What would you have a plan for the album, the EP? Do you have
Oh,
anything in mind, or?
I got that artwork done already.
Yeah,
Just waiting to get the rest of the album mastered, get all the files for that, and then figure out who to go through and how to get CDs made, and want to make some vinyls too and stuff. So
cassette tapes.
yeah, definitely. It seems like a lot of people within this community really like all that stuff. So, and I'm
Yeah,
myself included, I want to have a tape and a vinyl of it. So
yeah,
hopefully other people do too, and we can make it happen.
cool.
Yeah.
How about a question from Instagram?
Okay.
So this is from Daniel. On Instagram is Daniel Bones, which
Oh,
I'm sure
great.
you know. Yeah. He wants to know any of these fuckers ever blast out of the wall.
My God. And like shoot a big old cum shot. Oh my God. Have you watched that show?
I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, when he sent that to me, I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But in my head, I was going, "This sounds like something that's from I Think You Should Leave," or something like that. And then his response was, "It's from this show. It's called I Think You Should Leave." And I was like, "Man, I called it. I don't remember it. I don't remember that part, but I was like, this sounds like something that might be from that show."
It's interesting, the ghosts. Dude, this show has been following me like ever since I discovered there was a second season. I think I've watched the second season like 14 times with like 14 different people. And
Really?
like it doesn't stop being funny.
Did you like the second season as much as the first?
I do. With both seasons, I feel like the way it goes is like the beginning starts like super strong, and then it kind of as it goes along, it loses it a little bit. I still think it's all funny, but I think the stronger stuff's definitely always like the first half. And then the rest is like it's always like I put it on at night and then I just start falling asleep and then I'm like, oh, there's skits I've never seen. But
I watched
oh,
the first season
definitely.
like 5 times, and then
What'd you
I
say?
watched the second season once. I think I just
Yeah,
watched it once, but
it's so funny. I love Tim Robbins.
yeah. Did you ever watch Detroiters? Because I was so bummed when that show got canceled.
No, somebody asked me this the other day, and I was like, I've never seen that show.
It's not as absurd as that. It's not like just off the handle like that show. It's like a scripted like comedy show, but it's really funny. It's really good,
A
and it
friend,
was on Comedy Central for like I don't know 3 seasons maybe, and they canceled it. But
aw,
good
a
stuff.
friend showed me last night. He was like, "Have you ever heard of Auntie Donna's?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "This is filling the void of I Think You Should Leave." And so we put it on last night, and I think it's made by Tim Robinson and another dude from I Think You Should Leave, and it's definitely It is its own breed of comedy. But like you can definitely tell that it's like it's them, but it's another show it's pretty outrageous. It's pretty funny.
Well, that was the question that I got from Instagram. So
thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Let's do this Real or Fuzz game.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you watch the podcast or not, but I'm going to show you 10 album covers.
Okay.
And some of them are real and some of them are not. And I call them fuzzed. And you're going to tell me which is real and which ones are fuzzed.
Dude. Oh, no.
This is the first one. Hot damn, big fat lover.
It's so outrageous. I'm going to say it's real.
This one is real. Well done.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Diarrhea Planet.
It's not real.
It's fuzzed?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Fuck.
That's a real album right there. Diarrhea Planet is real. Mammoth Lungs. Will somebody open a window?
I want it to be real, but I think it's fuzzed.
This is fuzzed.
Okay. So sometimes it's pretty ridiculous, the shit that people have for band names and album covers.
Fucked off. For example, it's called Shitfucker.
Shitfucker. It's real because I want it to be real.
This is real. Yeah.
Yes.
So if you want to check out the latest podcast with Dr. Smoke, he talks about Shitfucker for a while.
Really?
And I decided to add it to the game because I loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Bent over. It's fuzzed.
It is. Kane Robert.
What am I looking at?
There's a lot going on in this one. That's what you're looking at.
It's real.
This is real.
I'm good at this game.
Man, and I think this guy like played guitar for Alice Cooper or something and
really
went solo. So yeah, definitely real.
Wow.
Ken, by request only.
Oh my god. Oh man. Another one that I want to be real. I'm gonna say that it's real.
This is real.
Yeah.
You're doing pretty good.
Dude, I thought I was gonna fail miserably at this. No fucker. It's real.
This is real.
Oh my god. How am I good at this?
Yeah, you're surprisingly good at this.
What does that say?
Don Perkins, Songs for My Wild Woman.
Oh my god. These can't all be real. These can't. I'm gonna say that it's fuzzed.
Damn. Yes.
Get some gems.
Society Gang Rape.
What? No fate. It's real?
This is real.
Oh my god.
Dang, that was the last one.
Dude, shit, I did pretty good.
You did really good.
Wow.
I think you missed one. I think that might be the best on this on the show so far. Yeah, I mean, no one's gotten it perfect yet, but yeah, I think you might be the closest one.
Wow. I'm impressed with. I didn't know I had this talent, so.
Congrats. That's all I got for you.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anything you wanna plug? shows
let's
coming up or music coming up or anything else?
Well, definitely at some point we'll be releasing an album. So there's that. Hopefully before the end of the year. We have some shows. Let's see. There's the one tomorrow in Vermont, which I mean, I'm not super familiar with the Vermont scene, but if you're in Vermont, you should come to Jimmy's Basement in Burlington because we will be there with a bunch of other cool people in this super awesome venue. And then we have 2 gigs in October. We have one October 14th at Dusk in Providence. And then we have one October 19th at Altones in Jewett City. I think that's the one that we're playing with Montaluna and Temptress. It's like their tour. We're opening for them.
Cool.
And then I think taking a break for a bit, or we're going to try to book some shows. And then we have like one more show in December at Altones with I think you pronounce it Bourgeois. It's the dude Mike from Backwoods Payback. It's like his other band. So, and then yeah, that's pretty much what we have on the schedule right now. Just working on the album stuff. Hopefully, we'll get that out soon.
You don't have a date for the EP?
We're still waiting on to get the files back. So okay. And because we went to Redwater, I can't even say it, Redwater Recording Studio in Pennsylvania, which is the drummer of Heavy Temple's recording studio. We're friends with them, so we went down there. But they just went on a little tour, so I haven't been pestering him about getting back to us yet. But soon there will be stuff. So hopefully we
can music scene out there at that direction must be like super tight knit, because out of like the 10 episodes I've done or whatever, like 5 of them have mentioned like a lot of the same bands that they're friends with, or they tour with, or they whatever. And it's a lot of, Heavy Temple. I did Red Touch Black, and I had Age of Truth on, and they're all just from kind of the same area-ish. I guess everything's a little closer out there. I'm in the Midwest, so nothing is close at all. So
Philly's loaded with awesome bands. Like first time I went was like a couple years ago, and then this past summer I've been down there to hang out with them like 4 times. And I've just been like meeting all their friends and seeing all these bands, and like it's a really awesome scene with a lot of cool people. At least from my experiences, I've met a lot of really cool people that just are all looking to support each other. A lot of them are like in each other's projects, and it's a lot of fun. Cool people, a lot of good music.
It seems like it. Yeah, it seems awesome. Like I said, being in the Midwest, it's at least 2 hours to get to the nearest anyone. So
where exactly are you?
I'm in Rockford, and we're like 2 hours from Chicago. And even the people that I know in Chicago, it just doesn't seem that tight. But
yeah,
cool. You're in a good spot.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Everybody check out Old Climb, which is awesome, and I'm looking forward to whatever else you got coming up next.
Sweet. No, thank you so much for asking me to do this. I like, as much as I get nervous talking to people, it's a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll talk later, and best of luck with the show tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
All right. Later.
All right. Later.